Welcome to another deep dive, everyone. Today we're taking a deep dive into Triad Diagnostic Solutions. We're going through their business assessment and strategic growth plan. Imagine we're thinking about investing or even signing on to work there. What do we need to know?
And this document, it goes deep. That makes you wonder why they're sharing this much, right? This isn't just some glossy brochure, it's serious strategic planning. Almost like they want someone to really understand their business.
Yeah, like they're looking for a partner, not just a casual observer. Okay, so Triad Diagnostic Solutions. They're the brains behind some super advanced diagnostic equipment and software. Think like the high-tech tools mechanics use to fix cars, but way more advanced, handling everything from delivery trucks to those massive 18-wheelers. Now, right off the bat, they emphasize they're debt-free, always a good sign, right? But then we hit this little phrase, poor historical financials.
And then that's a big one. Inaccurate financials, that's a red flag for anyone looking to invest or work somewhere. It makes you question the transparency, right? It makes it tough to really judge the health of the business. Are we talking minor hiccups or something more systemic? That's a question we need to answer.
It's like seeing a scratch on a brand new car. Is it just the surface or something deeper? And here's another layer to this. Triad relies heavily on a single supplier for their inventory. Strategic partnership or risky gamble?
Too early to say, but definitely something to keep in mind. That kind of reliance could be a weakness if that relationship goes south, or there are supply chain issues, or could be a sign of a unique advantage they've got, like a specialized component or exclusive deal. We need to find out.
So many questions already, and we're just getting warmed up. One thing's for sure, Triad doesn't seem afraid of risks, intentional or not. But before we get lost in the financials, let's meet the people Triad's hoping to reach their customers. They've gone all in on these detailed customer profiles, customer personas, they call them.
Yeah, and these personas, they're not just demographics. They've got names, backstories. It's about understanding needs, pain points, what makes them tick.
Like they've climbed inside their customers' heads. So who are these carefully crafted personas? First up, we've got Bubba from rural Arkansas, runs a transportation business, values trust above all else. He's been burned before, so he's not falling for any slick sales pitches. Then we have Josh, director of maintenance, stressed out, Texas, the whole deal. He needs training on this advanced equipment, but doesn't want to sound dumb asking questions. Needs things simple and straightforward. And it wouldn't be a deep dive without someone worried about the bottom line, right? That's where Max comes in, small business owner, feeling the squeeze, tired of those pricey, overcomplicated software solutions from the big guys. And last but not least, Richard. Big city, high expectations. Wants his tools delivered yesterday, in perfect condition, and needs that rock-solid IT support. No time for tech headaches.
It's a good mix of personas, shows they're thinking about different segments. But the question is, does it translate into a winning strategy? It's one thing to know your customer, another to turn that into actual growth, profitable growth.
Like having all the right ingredients, but no clue how to bake the cake, right? Speaking of recipes for success, let's dig into Triad's financials, which, as we've hinted at, might be a little interesting. On one hand, they're bragging about 80% revenue growth last year.
Impressive, right?
But then we've got those inaccurate historical financials still hanging over everything.
And that's what makes it tricky. That inconsistency in their reporting, it's almost impossible to tell if this growth is built on solid ground. Imagine building a house on a foundation with cracks, you know? Might look good from afar, but you'd have doubts.
So how do we reconcile these two things, the growth and the questionable financials?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Maybe they're cleaning up their act, getting those financial processes standardized. But it's also possible these inaccuracies point to something deeper. Mismanagement. Even deliberate misrepresentation. We need more info.
Okay, big question mark on the financial stability then. What about their plans for the future? Well, get this. Triad's aiming for 10x growth in the next 10 years.
Yeah, talk about ambitious. And this growth strategy involves expanding into new markets, specifically targeting cities like Miami, LA, Dallas. Big hubs for transportation and logistics, huge potential, but also more competition, more logistical hurdles to clear.
And let's not forget those financials. Can they handle that kind of rapid expansion if things aren't rock solid behind the scenes?
Exactly. Rapid growth without a strong foundation, it's a recipe for disaster. And there's another thing that caught my eye, or rather, what's missing. There's no mention of a clear employee maturity model.
Okay, gotta admit, not a term I hear every day. Break that down for us. What is it and why is it important, especially for a company wanting to grow this much?
Basically, it's a framework for assessing and developing your workforce, making sure you have the right people with the right skills and the right roles. Especially if you're trying to grow quickly, you need a system to identify skill gaps, train your people, and nurture talent from within.
So it's not just about hiring more people, it's about having the right people with the right skills.
Absolutely. And without that, attracting and keeping top talent becomes even harder, especially in a competitive industry like this one.
So far, we've got potentially shaky financials, huge growth targets, and some big question marks around their operations and employee development. That's a lot to digest.
It is. And remember, we're just scratching the surface here. This deep dive is about giving you the key takeaways, prompting the right questions. It's up to you to do your own digging, see if these are deal breakers or just challenges to overcome.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground with Triad, their financials, their big plans, but they don't exist in a vacuum, right?
Yeah.
To really understand their potential, we got to look at the playing field. Who else is out there?
And the document actually does a decent job of this, outlining the competitive landscape. It's not just a list of names, they analyze strengths, weaknesses, even marketing strategies. It's like a crash course on the whole diagnostic tools market.
Okay, so who are the main contenders then? Who's Triad up against?
They break it down into a few groups. First, those they consider direct competitors, like AE Tools, known for their customer service, personalized training. Then there's Diesel laptops, with their all-in-one repair platform, US-based support. That's a big selling point for some. And we can't forget Norgan. They're all about heavy-duty trucking diagnostics, data analytics, that kind of thing.
Sounds like a tough crowd. Anyone else in the mix?
They also call out the disruptors, those companies trying to shake things up. Launch Tech is one to watch, pushing the boundaries with advanced driver assistance systems, or ABS, like lane departure warnings, automatic braking, becoming standard in more and more vehicles.
Got to keep an eye on those disruptors, the ones changing the game. But what about the big guys, the ones already dominating the market? Who are they?
We're talking MAHLE Service Solutions, Snap-on Tools, Opus IVS, those kinds of names. Established reputations, huge distribution networks, wide range of products. It's a competitive space.
So where does Triad fit in all of this? They must think they've got an edge, right?
Oh, yeah. They emphasize their specialized expertise, particularly in high-end diagnostics, including that EDAS calibration we mentioned earlier. They talk about their lean structure, strong financial position, at least on paper, and they highlight their multifaceted approach to getting new customers, not just relying on one thing.
Makes sense. Got to diversify. But what about beyond the brochure, so to speak? What's their online presence like?
This is where things get interesting. We looked at their Facebook, Google, Yelp, even job sites like Glassdoor, Indeed. Good news first. They've got a solid Facebook game going, lots of followers, high ratings, generally positive reviews. They're sharing useful content, positioning themselves as experts, which seems to be working.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
But you said interesting, so I'm guessing there's more to this story.
Right. Their Google reviews are surprisingly sparse, and Glassdoor, Indeed, practically invisible. That's a missed opportunity, especially for attracting talent, building trust with potential customers. People check those sites,
It's like having an amazing restaurant, but no one can find it on the map. No matter how good the food is, if no one knows you're there.
Exactly. And it goes back to that point about documenting processes, not having a system for managing online reviews, building those profiles. It might be costing them.
Seems like a few ingredients missing from their online recipe. But, hey, every deep dive has its takeaways, right?
Absolutely. We've dug through Triad's plans, analyzed their financials, met their target customers, sized up the competition, even ventured into the online world. We've given you the pieces, the big picture.
But as always, it's up to you to connect the dots. Is Triad Diagnostic Solutions the next big thing? Or are they headed for trouble? Only time will tell, but hopefully this deep dive is giving you the insights to start answering that question yourself.
Because that's what it's all about, isn't it? Asking the right questions, digging deeper, forming your own conclusions.
That's what we love to do here, give you the information, the different angles, and let you be the judge. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll see you on the next one.